In the misty dawn of India's rich history, a city stood at the confluence of myth and legend. Its name, whispered in reverence by countless pilgrims and scholars, Haridwar, known to some as Haridwar Gainedwara. Mayapuri or Kapilasthanat had been a focal point of spiritual, cultural, and geographical significance for millennia. As one delves into the collective consciousness of the Indian subcontinent, it becomes apparent that Haridwar's sanctity has been deeply embedded in the fabric of its history. The city's ancient roots stretch far back into the mists of time, with references spanning the revered Vedas epic tales like the Mahabharata and Ramayana, the Puranas, classical Sanskrit literature, medieval chronicles, foreign travelogues, and modern scholarly works. It was in these early texts that the seeds of Haridwar's significance were sown. The Rigveda, one of the oldest Hindu scriptures, contains some of the earliest textual references to the region that would become Haridwar. In particular, the native Stuti Sutta venerates the Ganga among other sacred rivers. This revered river is invoked alongside Yamuna, with whose waters it converges in a majestic confluence. Of the Rigveda's poetic language weaves an enchanting tale of the region's mythological and geographical significance. The native Stuti Sutta, often translated as Hymn to the Rivers, not only extols the virtues of the Ganga, but also underscores its importance in the lives of ancient Indians. These ancient verses reveal a deep understanding of Haridwar's role in the spiritual and cultural landscape of India. As one explores further, it becomes clear that Haridwar has been an integral part of Indian thought and tradition for millennia. Its history is etched across multiple genres and sources, from sacred scriptures to medieval chronicles and foreign travelogues. In this report, we embark on a comprehensive exploration of Haridwar's historical presence in ancient scriptures and old books, synthesizing evidence from a wide array of primary and secondary sources. Through the ages, Haridwar has evolved into a beacon of spiritual light, attracting pilgrims and scholars alike. With its mystical and allure, its history is an intricate tapestry woven from myth, legend, and fact, each thread revealing a deeper understanding of this ancient city's significance in the collective consciousness of India. In the sacred realm of ancient India, the Ganga River stood tall among its revered counterparts. The Vedic hymns sang praises to this majestic waterway alongside the Yamuna and Saraswati rivers, establishing its sanctity from the early strata of Vedic literature. Though the Rigveda didn't mention Haridwar by name, it was clear that the Ganga held a special significance as a conduit for divine truth and purity. The sacred river's prominence was palpable in every verse, a testament to its enduring importance. As one delves deeper into the Vedic texts, such as the Yajurveda and Samaveda, the Ganga's role becomes increasingly evident. Sages would perform their penance and rituals along its banks, seeking spiritual liberation from the sacred river's waters. The Ganga's descent was conceptualized as a meeting point of three worlds, heaven, earth, and the netherworld, a motif that would later be localized at Haridwar. This intersection of cosmic geography and ritual practice laid the foundation for Haridwar's enduring reputation as a gateway to spiritual liberation. The region's continuous habitation and ritual activity during the late Vedic period are attested by archaeological findings, including terracotta artifacts dating from Bhazavis to Bhaza. These discoveries provide material evidence that complements the textual tradition, suggesting that Haridwar was indeed a site of significant spiritual importance in ancient times. The convergence of sacred geography and ritual practice created a powerful synergy that continues to shape the region's identity to this day. As researchers delve deeper into the history of Haridwar, they sought to provide material evidence that would complement the existing textual tradition. They scored ancient scriptures and historical accounts, but it wasn't until they ventured beyond the realm of written records that they stumbled upon a hidden treasure trove of clues in the sweltering heat of the Indian summer. Archaeologists under the remnants of an ancient civilization that predated even the most revered texts. The findings suggested that Haridwar's sacred status was not a recent phenomenon, but rather a deeply ingrained tradition with roots dating back to the distant past. As they excavated the site, they discovered fragments of pottery, tools, and other artifacts that hinted at a thriving community that had worshipped and revered this sacred place for millennia. The evidence was tantalizing, suggesting that Haridwar's spiritual significance was not just a product of Hindu mythology, but rather unnatural outgrowth of the region's deep history. The researchers' findings sparked a new wave of interest in the ancient culture of the region, and as they continued to dig, they uncovered more secrets hidden beneath the earth. Their work provided a fresh perspective on Haridwar's sacred status, revealing that its prehistoric roots were far more profound than anyone had ever imagined. In the ancient texts of Hindu epics, Mahabharata and Ramayana, Haridwar is mentioned as a sacred place of great significance. The story of its sanctity begins with the epic poem Mahabharata, which was composed between the 5th century BC and the 5th century CE. One delves into the pages of this ancient text, it becomes apparent that Haridwar holds a special place in the hearts of its authors. The name Gangedwar, gateway of the Ganga, is used to refer to this sacred site, and several key passages highlight its importance as a pilgrimage destination. According to Vana, Parva, Tirtha Parva sage, Hamya instructs Yudhishthira about India's sacred tirthas. In this passage, Gangedwara and Kankal are mentioned alongside other revered sites, underscoring their status as premier pilgrimage destinations. The text vividly describes Gangedwara as a spot where the mighty Ganga River rushes past the mountains, drawing in celestial beings like Gandharvas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Apsaras, and sages. Bathing at this sacred site is said to cleanse all sins and grant access to heaven. This was account of Gangedwara as a sacred spot on earth reinforces its status as a site of ancestral salvation and spiritual merit. The significance of this place is further emphasized in the story of Agastya, Rishi, who along with his wife Lokamudra performed severe penance at Gangedwara. This act of devotion not only cemented this site's association with asceticism, but also solidified its reputation as a hub for spiritual accomplishment. The echoes of these events still resonate in Haridwar today, where devotees from far and wide flock to bathe in the sacred waters of the Ganga River, seeking solace and redemption. In this way, the ancient texts have woven a rich tapestry around Haridwar, showcasing its role as a gateway to spiritual enlightenment and a site of great historical significance. In the heart of India, there existed a sacred site that was deeply connected to the ideals of asceticism and spiritual accomplishment. This place was none other than Haridwar, a city steeped in history and mythology. The story of its connection to these values began with sage Kapila, who had an ashram located within the city's boundaries. According to legend, sage Kapila's penance and subsequent curse led to the descent of the sacred Ganga River from heaven to earth. This event had a profound impact on the region, and it was here that the city's ancient name, Kapilastana, was born. The association between this site and spiritual growth only grew stronger over time. One pivotal moment in Haridwar's history was the Sarpasatra, or snake sacrifice of Janamejaya. This legendary event, as described in the Edda Parva, took place near Kankal, not far from Haridwar. It marked a significant milestone in the epic narrative of the Mahabharata and solidified Haridwar's position as a sacred site. These references collectively created a rich tapestry that established Haridwar as an integral part of India's spiritual geography. This was a place where myth, ritual, and pilgrimage converged, making it a destination for seekers of enlightenment and spiritual growth. The Ramayana, another ancient epic, also acknowledged Haridwar's significance. In the Ravandun section, Valmiki described a sacrifice at the gates of Gangedwara, where the gods would assemble for the sacred Yajna ritual. This mythological even further reinforced Haridwar's connection to the divine. According to legend, King Bhajaratha performed a great penance in Haridwar, praying for the descent of the Ganga River from heaven to bring salvation to his ancestors. This selfless act has become an integral part of Haridwar's identity as the site where the Ganga touches earth, and its spiritual significance continues to inspire pilgrims and seekers of truth to this day. In the ancient texts of the Puranas, Haridwar was revered as a sacred site mentioned in the Vishnu Purana and Vayu Purana. The story is told of a grand sacrifice known as the Daksha Yajna, which took place at Gangedwara on the slopes of the majestic Himalayas. As the tales unfold, we learn that the gods, led by Indra, sought permission from Mahadeva to attend this revered ceremony. The site was frequented by wise rishis and sages who had come to pay their respects, but which specific location was mean. The Linga Purana is more precise in its identification, pointing to Kanekala, a locality within present-day Haridwar. However, it's not just the ancient texts that sing the praises of Haridwar and the Garuda Purana. The city is listed among the 7 moksha-giving cities, Sapta, Moksha Puri, alongside Ayodhya, Mathura, and Kashi. This enumeration underscores Haridwar's status as a city capable of granting liberation through pilgrimage and ritual. The Devite Gaudata Purana and Shakta traditions also extol the virtues of Haridwar as a famous place of pilgrimage. It warns that those who accept gifts at such tirths are destined for Kamapek, hell, a testament to the city's spiritual potency and the ethical gravity ascribed to its rituals. In fact, one of the Toshektai Pitas, the Maya Devi temple, is located in Haridwar. This ancient temple is a sacred site where devotees come to pay their respects to the divine feminine energy. The temple's significance is not just spiritual, but also cultural, as it serves as a reminder of the city's rich history and heritage. Through its numerous mentions in the Puranas, it becomes clear that Haridwar has been a revered site for centuries, attracting pilgrims from far and wide who come to seek liberation, spiritual growth, and enlightenment. In the heart of India, nestled along the sacred banks of the Ganges River, lies the revered city of Haridwar. This ancient metropolis is believed to be one of the Toshektai Pitas, sanctified sites where the divine feminine energy resides. According to legend, it was here that Sata's heart and navel fell, imbuing Haridwar with an air of spiritual significance. As one delves into the pages of the Skanda Purana, a sacred text revered by Hindus, it becomes clear why Haridwar is regarded as one of the 7 holy cities known as Saptapuri. This ancient scripture describes Haridwar as a place capable of bestowing liberation upon those who visit with devotion and faith. The Padma Purana and Brahmanda Purana further amplify the sacredness of this city by stating that even a single drop of Ganga water taken at Haridwar can erase the karmic burden accumulated over countless lifetimes. This assertion reinforces the notion that Haridwar serves as a locus of purification, where one's spiritual merit can be increased with each visit. Beyond these ancient texts lies another testament to Haridwar's sanctity, the Nilmata Purana, a regional scripture hailing from Kashmir. This text lists Husavarta at Gangavara, Haridwar Bilvika, the mountain Nila, and Kanikala among the sacred places visited by sages and pilgrims. This recognition of Haridwar's holiness transcends geographical boundaries, underscoring its pan-Indian significance. In classical Sanskrit literature, Kalidasa's epic poem Mayadutta pays tribute to Haridwar's revered status. The poem tells the story of Kanikala, a place where the celestial Ganga River is said to have descended from the heavens, imbuing it with spiritual energy. As one reads these ancient words, they are reminded that Haridwar has been a beacon of spirituality for centuries, drawing seekers and pilgrims alike to its sacred banks. In the misty dawn of India's rich cultural heritage, Kalidasa's majestic poem Mayadutta, or Cloud Messenger, echoes through the ages. Composed in the 5th century, this masterpiece weaves an enchanting narrative that reverently acknowledges the sacred geography of the Ganga's descendants. The poet's words dance across the page. They evoke vivid images of Shiva's playful grasp on the river's hair, a tender touch that speaks to the divine bond between the cosmos and its creator. The mention of Kanikala, near Kanikala, traditionally identified with Kankal in Haridwar, serves as a poignant reminder of the city's significance within the classical imagination. Haridwar, a name that resonates with mythic and natural grandeur, has long been etched on the map of the imagination. The very essence of this sacred site is distilled into Kalidasa's lyrical verse, where the confluence of mythology and nature creates an experience of awe-inspiring beauty. As we journey through time, we find ourselves in the century amidst the travels of Chuanzang Haiwan Sang, a Chinese Buddhist monk who ventured into India. His account, penned as he traversed the vast expanse of this ancient land, provides valuable insight into Haridwar's status as a major pilgrimage center. Chuanzang described the city as the gate of the Ganga River, where the majestic Diva temple stood tall, its presence commanding reverence from all who approached. He noted that people from far-flung corners of India, the 5 Indies, converge here to seek spiritual enlightenment and wash away their sins. The traveler's words serve as a testament to Haridwar's allure in the early medieval period, drawing pilgrims from across the land with promises of miracles and redemption. This external corroboration stands alongside Kalidasa's poetic tribute, reinforcing the city's reputation as a beacon of spiritual significance. As we delve further into his story, we encountered Thomas Curriet, an English traveler who arrived in Haridwar. For his account offers Additional evidence of the city's fame among foreign visitors who were drawn to its sacred waters and revered temples creates words, serve as a bridge between the classical imagination and the early modern era, connecting us with the timeless allure of this Indian pilgrimage center. Thus, we see Haridwar through the lens of multiple eras, from Kalanis's poetic reverie to Chuanzing's travelogue, and finally, Thomas Crait's foreign account. This diverse tapestry illustrates the city's enduring appeal as a site of spiritual significance where myth and nature blend in an unforgettable dance seas. The fame of Haridwar spread far and wide, attracting visitors from foreign lands. Its importance was further attested by Mahalara records. The Nayak Barai and Tulisatal Tawarik, both esteemed chronicles of the time, documented the city's significance, especially during the Vaisakhi and Kumbh Mela festivals, and such account compiled by Abul Fal in the 8th century referred to Haridwar as Maya, Mayapur, one of the 7 sacred cities of the Hindus. According to this record, Emperor Akbar himself had visited Haridwar, drawn by its revered waters. He was so taken with the Ganga water that he considered it the water of immortality. In a gesture of respect and appreciation, Akbar not only drank from these sacred waters, but also established a mine in the city. For copper coinage, Haridwar's reputation as a center of pilgrimage and learning continued to flourish. During the medieval period, the city was mentioned in the biographies of Sikh gurus, including Guru Nanak, who had visited Haridwar and Kankal in the early 8th century. During this time, new temples and ghats were constructed, and rulers like Raja Man Singh of Amber patronized the city's growth. The Maho period saw significant developments in Haridwar, with many new structures being built to cater to the influx of pilgrims. The city's importance as a sacred site was further solidified by its mention in several historical accounts of the time, from Emperor Akbar's visit to the construction of new temples and ghats. Haridwar had become an integral part of India's rich cultural heritage. In the sweltering heat of British colonial India, administrators produced meticulous gazetteers and archaeological reports that meticulously documented Haridwar's rich history, geography, and spiritual life. These detailed records were a testament to the city's significance as a sacred pilgrimage site. A construction of the Bhimgada Dam in the 8th century was a pivotal moment for Haridwar. It facilitated the influx of pilgrims from all corners of India who came to bathe in the Ganges and pay homage to the city's revered temples. As the railway network expanded, the city underwent modernization with infrastructure development that catered to the growing number of visitors. Haridwar's unique preservation of genealogical registers, known as Bayas or Vayas, was another remarkable aspect of its heritage. These records were meticulously maintained by hereditary Brahmin priests, known as Pandas, who had safeguarded family lineages, births, marriages, deaths, and pilgrimages for Hindu families across northern India. For centuries, dating back to at least the 8th century, these registers had been used to resolve disputes and trace ancestry, providing a decentralized yet systematic archive of Hindu familial histories that predates modern civil registration. The records were a treasure trove of information, offering insights into the lives of countless individuals who had passed through Haridwar's gates. Archaeological discoveries further corroborated the city's ancient past. Terracotta artifacts and temple remains unearthed by excavations revealed a rich cultural heritage that spanned centuries. Among these ancient relics was the majestic Maya Devi temple, which dated back to the 8th century. Its intricate carvings and statues spoke of a long-forgotten era when Haridwar was an important center of learning and spirituality. The city's epigraphic tradition, which included genealogical registers and inscriptions, added another layer to its story. Past these written records told the story of a city that had seen empires rise and fall, where ancient traditions continued to thrive alongside modern developments. As one wandered through Haridwar streets, it was impossible not to be awed by the sheer depth of history that lay beneath its surface. Deep within the ancient city of Haridwar, a tale of mythological proportions unfolds. The Maya Devi temple, standing proudly since the 12th century, is a testament to the city's rich history and spiritual significance. Its story past waves in and out of the fabric of the Decha Mahadev temple in Kankal, where the legendary Dechet Edna took place. The epic of the Kumbh Mela, one of the world's largest and most revered gatherings, begins with a myth that spans the cosmos. It is rooted in the Samudra meant in the churning of the Essene a cosmic struggle between gods and demons that echoes through the Bhagavata Purana and other sacred texts according to these ancient chronicles. Droplets of Amrita, the nectar of immortality, fell at 4 sacred locations during the celestial upheaval: Haridwar, Prayag of Jain, and Nashik, and it is said that the precise spot where the nectar fell in Haridwar is none other than the Brahma Kundit Har Kait Haraya site, now synonymous with the Kumbh Mela. Astronomers and priests alike have long recognized the significance of specific celestial alignments, particularly those involving Jupiter and the Sun. Every years, when Jupiter enters Aquarius and the Sun finds itself in Aries, the cosmos converges to herald the arrival of the Kumbh Mela. It is this harmony between astronomical cycles and Hindu ritual life that governs the timing of the festival. As the celestial bodies align, Haridwar awakens from its slumber, preparing to host pilgrims and devotees from far and wide. The city's storied past converges with the present as the legend of the Kumbh Mela continues to unfold, a testament to the enduring power of faith and the cosmos that governs. In the misty annals of history, records from the medieval and colonial eras provide a glimpse into the grandeur of the Kumbh Mela at Haridwar. The Kilas at Uttawarak, Pendington, and Chahar Gulshan, written in are just 2 examples of these accounts that detail the scale and significance of this ancient festival. These sources paint a vivid picture of the Kumbh Mela as a time of mass gatherings where people from far and wide would come to participate in ritual bathing. However, they also highlight the sectarian conflicts and public health challenges that arose during these events. This continuous historical record offers a fascinating glimpse into the evolution of the festival over the centuries for those who have witnessed the Kumbh Mela. First, and it is impossible not to be drawn into the rich sacred geography of Haridwar. At its heart lies Har Kai Parai, literally the steps of God, a site revered by both Hindus and Muslims alike for its association with Lord Vishnu and Shiva. According to local tradition, Lord Vishnu himself left his footprint on this very spot, imbuing the site with spiritual energy that continues to attract pilgrims from around the world. The Brahma Kund within Har Kai Parai is the epicenter of ritual bathing during the Kumbh Mela, a site that awakens emotions in all who witness it. Each day, thousands gather to bear witness to the daily Ganga Arti, performed at sunrise and sunset as the light dances across the waters. It creates a spectacle of devotion that draws tourists and pilgrims alike into its mesmerizing vortex. Just a short distance from Har Kai Parai lies Kanka, one of the 5 sacred spots known as the Panchtirthas mentioned in the ancient scriptures of the Mahabharata and Puranas as Kanakhala. This site is renowned for its majestic Daksha Mahadev temple, and Satakundi's twin landmarks are steeped in history, their stones bearing witness to the timeless passage of time. Kankal's serene waters, said to possess healing properties, have drawn devotees for centuries, adding to the rich tapestry of Haridwar's sacred geography. In the sacred city of Haridwar there stood a magnificent temple complex that was renowned throughout the land. The Daksha Mahadev temple and Satai Kund were 2 sites associated with a pivotal event in Hindu mythology, the Daksha Yajna and the self-immolation of Seshas. One wandered through the streets of Kankal. It became apparent why this place held such significance. The city's rich history and mythological importance were evident in the references to Kalidas's Mahadyuta and the Nilmata Purana, ancient texts that spoke of the region's divine status. And of the most revered temples in Haridwar was the Maya Devi temple, dedicated to the presiding goddess of the city. This temple was one of the Talshakti Pita's sacred sites, believed to be the places where Sati's heart and navel fell during her self-immolation. The temple was a major center of Shakta worship, drawing devotees from far and wide. A Maya Devi temple was part of a holy trinity in Haridwar, along with Chandai Devi and Mansa Devi temples. These 3 sites formed the core of the city's sacred geography, and pilgrims would traditionally visit them as part of their spiritual circuit, seeking purification and blessings. As one explored the Panchtirthas of 5 sacred sites, it became clear why Haridwar was considered a spiritual powerhouse. The Gangadwara, Har Kai Parai Kashwar, Kankal Bilwatirth Mansa Devi Temple, and Neel Parva Chanda Devi Temple were each imbued with an otherworldly energy, drawing devotees to their sacred presence. Pilgrims would come seeking solace, purification, and blessings from the divine energies that resided within these sites. The Panchtirthas were an integral part of Haridwar's sacred geography, a testament to the city's enduring spiritual significances. The sun rose over the bustling city of Haridwar. Pilgrims from all corners of India began to arrive, eager to embark on the revered Chardham Yatra. This sacred journey would take them to the four majestic Himalayan shrines of Yamunotri, Gangotri, Kedarnath, and Badrinath, a pilgrimage that had been undertaken for centuries by devotees seeking spiritual enlightenment. For many, their journey began with a ritual bath in the Ganges River at Haridwar, a symbolic purification rite that cleansed them of worldly sins before ascending to the higher shrines. As they submerged themselves in the holy waters, they felt a sense of renewal and rejuvenation wash over them. It was as if the city itself was blessing their endeavor. Haridwar, or gateway to Hara, Vishnu, or gateway to Hara, Shiva, had long served as a spiritual threshold for these pilgrims. Its name reflected its sacred role in guiding travelers on their journey towards enlightenment. As they passed through this gateway, they left behind the mundane and entered a realm of transcendence. But Haridwar was more than just a spiritual crossroads. It was also home to an extraordinary institution, the genealogical registers, maintained by the city's Pandus Hindu priests. For centuries, these handwritten ledgers, known as Bayas or Vayas, had documented the vital events in the lives of Hindu pilgrims. Births, marriages, deaths, and pilgrimages were all meticulously recorded, providing a unique window into the history of Indian families. The practice of keeping such records dated back to at least the 12th century, with some claiming even earlier origins. Over time, these registers had become an essential tool in legal proceedings, helping to establish inheritance and property rights. They also provided invaluable data for historians studying migration patterns, kinship ties, and social organization in India's pilgrims continued their journey towards the Chardham shrines. They left behind a trail of stories, rituals, and traditions that would be etched into the genealogical registers forever. And as they ascended to the higher mountains, they carried with them not only their prayers, but also the collective memory of generations past, a testament to the enduring power of faith and tradition in Indian society. As historians delved into the study of migration, kinship, and social organization in India, they stumbled upon a treasure trove of information about Haridwar. The city's richest story was woven throughout ancient texts, each one shedding light on its significance as a sacred say in the Vedic scriptures dating back to around 1200. Haridwar was established as a ritual site. The Ganga River was revered as a sacred entity, and the region surrounding it was considered a center for spiritual rituals. This marked the beginning of Haridwar's journey as a revered destination. As the ages passed, the Mahabharata, written between Moses, immortalized Haridwar in its narrative. The city was mentioned by various names: Gangadwara, Kanikala, Kapilastana, and Kinkal, each one a testament to its sacred geography. It became a site of pilgrimage for those seeking enlightenment, and the echoes of epic events still resonated through the air. The Ramayana, penned around Dalzit, further solidified Haridwar's importance. The story of Gangadwara, where Ganga descended from heaven and Daksha's sacrifice, were forever etched in the city's mythology. The mythological origin of the Ganga River and its ritual sanctity only added to Haridwar's mystical literature. Texts such as the Vishnu Purana and Vayu Purana, written between Kalkosnan, reaffirmed Haridwar's status as a sacred site. The Daksha Yagna at Gangadwara Kala was described in vivid detail, further validating the city's sanctity. The Garuda Purana, penned around the 5th century, bestowed upon Haridwar an even greater honor. It was declared one of the 7 cities that granted spiritual liberation for those who made the pilgrimage to this sacred site. The promise of spiritual liberation was within reach. In the misty dawn of his story, Haridwar's sacred geography was etched in the pages of ancient scriptures. The Devi Bhagavata Purana, penned sometime between the 12th and 12th centuries, spoke of Haridwar as a Shakti Pitha, a site where the divine feminine power resided. It was here that the Maya Devi temple stood tall, a testament to the Shakti tradition's reverence for the feminine divine. As the centuries unfolded, Haridwar's importance only grew. The Skanda Purana and Padma Purana, written between 1200, celebrated the city as Sata Purai, one of the 7 sacred cities, Where the great Kumbh Mela was held, pilgrims from far and wide would flock to this holy site, participating in the grand festival tradition that Haridwar embodied. But Haridwar's significance stretched beyond the realm of scriptures alone. The Nile Meta Purana, dating back to the 6th century, spoke of Kusavarta at Gangadvara and Akela, a place where the sacred waters of the Ganga flowed. This was a region steeped in regional sacred geography. Its history woven into the fabric of classical literature. Poet Kalidas's Mehaduja penned between the 5th and 8th centuries described Kanekala as the site where the Ganga descended to earth. His words were but one attestation among many, a testament to Haridwar's enduring reputation as a sacred center of pilgrimages. Foreign travelers began to visit India. Their accounts only served to reinforce Haridwar's status as a revered destination. Chuanzing Sayukai, written in the 5th century, spoke of the gate of the Ganga, where devotees would flock to worship at the Deva temple and witness miracles. Centuries later, the Mahal chronicler Kanayat Barayat provided a window into Haridwar's significance. During the 8th century, the city was not only a place of spiritual importance, but also an economic hub, with copper mines producing coins that bore the image of Mayapur and the sacred waters of the Ganges. The British Raj took hold in India. Their gazetteers and archaeological surveys shed light on Haridwar's continued development as a city. The infrastructure that supported the Kumbh Mela, one of the world's largest mass pilgrimages, was put in place, ensuring the tradition's continuity. But even as modernization swept through the region, ancient traditions remained embedded within Haridwar's favorite genealogical registers, dating back to the 12th centuries, recorded family lineages and ritual documentation, providing a unique historical and legal resource. Through it all, the Kumbh Mela tradition continued unabated, and its celebration of Samudra Manthan, where the Amrita flowed from Brahma Kund. It was here that pilgrims would come to participate in ritual purification, drawn by the promise of spiritual renewal. The historical evidence for Haridwar's prominence is both abundant and multifaceted, spanning centuries, and texts from the hymns of the Rigveda to epic narratives like the Davai Purana. The city has been etched as a sacred site revered by countless generations, a testament to its enduring place in India's spiritual heartland. The sacred city of Haridwar has been a place of unparalleled significance for over 3 millennia. Its multifaceted nature is evident in the various aspects of its rich heritage, from the ancient hymns of the Rigveda to the epic narratives of the Mahabharata and Ramayana. One delves deeper into the city's history. It becomes apparent that Haridwar has been continuously sanctified by myth, ritual, and pilgrimage. Its sacred geography is anchored by sites like Har Kai Parai Kenkel and the majestic Maya Devai Temple, each holding a unique significance in the spiritual journey of seekers. The genealogical registers maintained by the Pandits provide a living link to India's past, preserving the memory of countless families and communities. These records are a testament to the city's role as a custodian of tradition and culture. The Pandits, with their meticulous attention to detail, have ensured that the sacred history of Haridwar is never lost. However, it is not just the city's rich heritage that sets it apart. Its institutions also play a vital role in shaping its identity. For centuries, Haridwar has been a spiritual epicenter, drawing millions of pilgrims and seekers from far and wide. The Kumbh Mela, rooted in cosmic myth and astronomical cycles, continues to be a defining feature of the city's cultural landscape. This grand festival is not just a spectacle, it is an affirmation of Haridwar's role as a confluence of myth, history, and faith. It is a celebration that transcends geographical boundaries, bringing together people from all walks of life in their pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. In this sense, Haridwar is not merely a geographical location, but a living scripture, a source of inspiration, purification, and unity. For generations of seekers, as one navigates the city's streets, it becomes evident that its significance extends beyond its role as a pilgrimage site. Haridwar is a place where past and present converge, where myth and history blend seamlessly into each other. It is a testament to the enduring power of faith and tradition, a reminder of the profound impact that this sacred city has had on the spiritual journey of humanity. In the heart of India, a city stands as a testament to the enduring presence in the textual, material, and oral traditions of the country. Haridwar's timeless sanctity and its central place in the spiritual heritage of humanity is a phenomenon that has been unfolding over centuries as one delves into the evolution of Haridwar's sacred identity. It becomes apparent that its name has been associated with various facets of its geography, from Gangedwara to Kapilastana, Mayapurite, and other names that reflect different aspects of its spiritual significance. Each title whispers a story of myth, ritual, and historical circumstance. Legend has it that Haridwar was born from the confluence of cosmic and human history. When the Ganga descended upon the earth, the city's association with the penance of sages and great sacrifices situates it at the intersection of divine and mortal realms. Over time, as epics, Puranic narratives, and local legends accumulated, a palimpsest of meaning emerged, constantly reinterpreted by each generation of pilgrims and scholars. At the heart of Haridwar's sacred geography lies its cats, particularly Harkai, where ritual bathing in the Ganga becomes a reenactment of primordial events described in Scripture. The city's ghats serve as stages for the daily drama of purification, devotion, and communal celebration. The Kumbh Mela, with its astronomical importance, brings together millions of pilgrims from across the world to bathe in the sacred waters and participate in the grand rituals. One navigates the labyrinthine alleys and streets of Haridwar. It becomes evident that this city is a living tapestry of history, mythology, and spirituality. Its identity has been woven through the threads of myth, ritual, and historical circumstance, creating an ever-unfolding narrative that continues to captivate and inspire generations of pilgrims and scholars alike. A Kumbh Mela in particular stands as a testament to the city's sacred identity, drawing millions from across the world to participate in the grand ritual. As the celestial alignment occurs, the city comes alive with vibrant colors, sounds, and smells, transporting all who visit into a realm of cosmic significance. For Haridwar is not merely a place, it is an experience that transcends human understanding, touching the very essence of our existence. In this sense, Haridwar stands as a shining example of the power of ritual and pilgrimage to transcend time and space. It invites us to surrender ourselves to its sacred waters, allowing the primordial events described in Scripture to resonate within our souls. As we immerse ourselves in the city's ghats, the daily drama of purification, devotion, and communal celebration becomes an integral part of our own spiritual journey. Thus, Haridwar remains a timeless sanctuary, a place where human history intersects with cosmic significance. Its enduring presence in India's textual material and oral traditions continues to captivate and inspire generations, reminding us that the sacred is not just a distant realm, but a living, breathing entity that resides within ourselves and surrounds us in every moment. In the heart of India, where devotion and communal celebration converge, lies the Kumbh Mela, a phenomenon that exemplifies the harmonious fusion of cosmic order and human aspiration. This sacred festival, steeped in astronomical timing and mythological origins, has been a cornerstone of Hindu ritual life for centuries. As one traverses the streets of Haridwar, it becomes evident that despite the transformative currents of political change, technological advancement, and globalization, this city has remained steadfast in its core identity as a place of pilgrimage and spiritual renewal. The preservation of genealogical registers, the maintenance of ancient temples, and the adaptation of festivals to contemporary realities all attest to Haridwar's remarkable resilience and adaptability. The sacred tradition, born from the confluence of textual material and oral sources, has evolved into a living archive of India's rich religious and cultural history. As a repository of genealogical memory, a site of ritual innovation, and a hub of scholarly inquiry, Haridwar continues to inform and inspire future generations. The city's legacy is woven from the threads of ancient scriptures and old books, which speak volumes about its significance in Hinduism. The historical evidence is overwhelming and multifaceted, painting a picture of a city that has endured through the ages, remaining an integral part of India's spiritual fabric. As I stood amidst the towering shelves, I felt overwhelmed by the sheer scope of books that surrounded me. The city's enduring presence in the spiritual, cultural, and historical imagination of India was a testament to its unique role as a gateway to the divine, a place where myth and reality converged. I had always been drawn to this sacred city, with its rich tapestry of stories and legends woven into the fabric of its existence. The eternal flow of the Ganga, which wound its way through the heart of the city, seemed to embody the very essence of India itself. A confluence of past and present, where ancient traditions met modern-day realities. As I delved deeper into my research on historical texts, I felt a sense of excitement building within me. The city's storied history was waiting to be unraveled like a rich tapestry that had been patiently woven over centuries. I knew that I would be immersing myself in the city's cultural and spiritual heritage, seeking out hidden gems and unexpected insights that only this place could offer. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of my task ahead, to navigate the labyrinthine streets, to immerse myself in the sights and sounds of this vibrant city. I was ready for the challenge, eager to embark on this journey into the heart of India's sacred traditions, and so with a sense of anticipation and wonder, I stepped forward, ready to begin my research into the historical texts that held secrets and stories waiting to be unearthed. Yes, I delved into the rich history of Haridwar. I found myself transported to a realm of ancient scriptures. The mention of this sacred city in revered texts like the Vedas, Puranas, Mahabharata, and Ramayana sent shivers down my spine. I'd felt an insatiable curiosity to explore more, so I began scouring early travelogues, inscriptions, and historical records that spoke of Haridwar's significance. I spent several minutes browsing through these documents, taking note of the city's revered status in Hinduism. The air was filled with whispers of a place where spirituality and nature converged, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe as I delved deeper into its history. Just then my thoughts were interrupted by the rise of Patanjali, an iconic development that had transformed Haridwar's landscape. Founded in by Swaminarayan and Acharya Balakrishna, this pioneering institute aimed to revive India's ancient traditions of yoga and Ayurveda. Named after Rishi Patanjali, the sage credited with compiling the Yoga Sutras, the center was a beacon of hope for those seeking holistic well-being. As I learned more about Patanjali, I discovered that it was envisioned as a revival of India's ancient health sciences. The main campus boasted an impressive array of facilities, including hospitals, pharmacies, and cutting-edge research centers. It was here that the boundaries between traditional wisdom and modern innovation blurred, giving birth to a new era in Ayurvedic development. I found myself enthralled by the story of Patanjali, Yotpi's founders who had dared to challenge conventional norms and create something truly revolutionary. Swaminarayan and Acharya Balakrishna had not only revived ancient traditions, but also brought them into the 20th century, making Ayurveda accessible to millions. As I continued to dig deeper, I realized that Patanjali Yotpith was more than just an institution. It was a movement that had transformed Haridwar into a hub of wellness and innovation, blending the best of ancient traditions with modern industry. And as I wrapped up my research, I knew that this story would stay with me forever, a testament to the power of human ingenuity and the boundless potential of India's ancient heritage. In the heart of India, the University of Patanjali stood as a beacon for higher education in yoga and Ayurveda. This esteemed institution was just one of the many initiatives taken by Baba Ramdev's organization to promote holistic well-being. Another notable endeavor was Yadgramashrama Sari, naturopathy and wellness retreat, where individuals could escape the chaos of modern life and reconnect with nature. Baba Ramdev's vision for a healthy India had been instrumental in reviving Ayurvedic medicine and herbal remedies. His efforts had made these traditional practices accessible to millions who were eager to adopt a more natural approach to healing. Patanjali's research center was at the forefront of this movement, conducting thorough studies on medicinal plants and formulations. The organization's scientists worked tirelessly to integrate Ayurveda with modern science, creating innovative solutions that catered to the needs of the 20th century. The impact of Patanjali's efforts extended far beyond the realm of medicine. Their hospitals and clinics provided affordable treatment options to rural and lower-income communities who had previously been deprived of quality health care. Moreover, the organization's pharmacy and product lines had created a mass market for Ayurvedic goods, making these natural remedies more accessible than ever. As Patanjali continued to grow and expand its reach, it began to have a profound social and economic impact on India. Thousands of jobs were generated in Haridwar and across the country. From manufacturing to retail, the organization's presence had become synonymous with employment opportunities contributing significantly to the local economy. Baba Ramdev's vision for a healthy and prosperous India was slowly but surely becoming a reality in the bustling city of Haridwar. A revolution was brewing. It began with the University of Patanjali, which emerged as a beacon of knowledge in the realm of yoga, Ayurveda, and holistic health. The university's mission was to train students in the ancient wisdom of India, equipping them with the skills to heal body, mind, and spiritus. The university flourished. Its founder, Baba Ramdev, had a vision to make yoga and Ayurveda accessible to all. He launched Patanjali, a brand that would offer low-cost alternatives to multinational brands, making herbal and natural products mainstream. The movement gained momentum as people from all walks of life flocked to experience the benefits of Patanjali's products. But Baba Ramdev's vision extended beyond business. He was driven by a passion to revive India's indigenous knowledge systems, linking spirituality with daily life. Patanjali's cultural revival efforts resonated deeply with Indians who felt proud to connect with their roots. The movement transcended borders, attracting international students, researchers, and practitioners who were drawn to the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda and yoga. Patanjali expanded its reach. It transformed Haridwar into a spiritual capital, not just for pilgrimage, but also for health, innovation, and industry. The institution's commitment to corporate social responsibility through rural development was evident in its direct sourcing of raw materials from farmers, promoting organic farming, and ensuring fair prices. This approach not only benefited the farmers, but also contributed to Patanjali's growth as a global wellness movement. Today, Patanjali is a testament to Baba Ramdev's vision and perseverance. The institution continues to expand, balancing traditional wisdom with modern enterprise as it forges ahead. Its legacy remains a powerful reminder of what can be achieved when ancient knowledge meets innovative spirit. Would you like to explore the timeline of Patanjali's milestones in Haridwar? From its founding in Hausa to its global expansion, the ancient temple stood tall. Its historical and mythological significance etched in the annals of Indian lore. Its name was a testament to the legendary King Daksha Pratapasai, father of goddess Satai, the first consort of Lord Shiva. Legend had it that Daksha, with great fanfare, organized the grand yajna, or sacrificial ritual, at Kankal. But in the shocking snub, he deliberately chose not to invite his son-in-law, Lord Shiva, to the festivities. Satai, feeling deeply insulted by her father's omission, attended the yajna anyway, determined to stand up for her beloved husband. The scene was set for a tragic confrontation. As the ritual progressed, Satai's presence became increasingly apparent, and Daksha's disdain for Shiva only grew. Enraged by his daughter's defiance, Daksha refused to acknowledge her, leading Satai to immolate herself in protest against the injustice she had suffered. The news of Satai's sacrifice sent shockwaves throughout the realm. Lord Shiva, consumed by grief and anger, descended upon Kankal, determined to avenge his beloved wife's death. He destroyed the yajna, reducing it to ashes, and beheaded Daksha in a fit of rage. But even as the dust settled, a remarkable transformation took place. Daksha, revived with a goat's head, was forced to confront the depths of his own arrogance. This symbolic rebirth served as a powerful reminder of the humility that must be shown before divine power, and so the temple became one of the most sacred sites in India, forever linked to the tragic yet redemptive Shiva. Satai legend. As pilgrims made their way through its hallowed halls, they couldn't help but feel the weight of his story and myth that surrounded them. The temple stood as a testament to the enduring power of love and devotion, a reminder that even in the face of great injustice, there is always hope for redemption and forgiveness. In the heart of India, where myth and history converge, stands the revered city of Haridwar. This sacred confluence has been a focal point of religious, cultural, and geographical significance for millennia. Its sanctity, deeply embedded in the collective consciousness of the Indian subcontinent. The city's story past is etched in ancient scriptures, epics, and classical Sanskrit literature. The Vedas, those revered texts that form the foundation of Hinduism, mention Haridwar as a site of great spiritual significance. The epic poems, the Mahabharata and Ramayana, also reference this city, where the mighty Ganges River flows from the Himalayas to nourish the land. As one delves deeper into the history of Haridwar, it becomes clear that its importance extends far beyond its geographical location. Medieval chronicles and foreign travelogues confirm the city's reputation as a place of pilgrimage where devotees flock to seek blessings, and solace from the divine. One of the most fascinating aspects of Haridwar's history is the development of its temples, which stand as testaments to the ingenuity and devotion of its builders. The present temple, built in Tibet by Queen Dankar of Lantera, is a masterpiece of Nagara architecture with a majestic shakara spire that soars towards the heavens. However, this grand structure is not an isolated entity. It has a rich history that predates its current incarnation. Some traditions suggest that earlier shrines existed on the site, possibly dating back to the 12th century. The temple's sanctum houses a revered idol of Shiva, a testament to the city's long-standing association with the divinity. Of the temple underwent a thorough renovation, but its essence remains unchanged. It continues to be a beacon of faith and spirituality for millions, its significance deeply intertwined with the collective psyche of India. As one explores the streets of Haridwar, it becomes evident that this city is more than just a place of worship. It is an embodiment of India's rich cultural heritage. The transformation from text to story format has resulted in a narrative that maintains approximately the same length as the original, while presenting the key information and details in a more engaging and immersive style. I delved into the historical presence of Haridwar. I found myself immersed in a sea of ancient scriptures and old books. My exploration was fueled by a passion to synthesize evidence from a wide array of primary and secondary sources. My journey began with the Vedas, those revered texts that hold the secrets of India's spiritual heritage. In particular, I turned my attention to Haridwar's earliest textual references, which can be found in the Rigveda. As I pored over its pages, I was struck by a specific hymn, the native Stuti Sutta, which venerates the Ganga among other sacred rivers. The hymn is a beautiful tribute to the majesty of the Ganga, Yamuna, Sarasvati, and other rivers that flow through the region. The language is poetic, invoking the blessings of these waterways as channels of spiritual purification. In this way, the Rigveda establishes the sanctity of the Ganga from the early stretch of Vedic literature. While the Rigveda itself does not mention Haridwar by name, its emphasis on the Ganga's importance suggests that the city was already a revered place in ancient times. The river's spiritual significance is deeply rooted in Hindu tradition, and it's clear that Haridwar has been a sacred site for thousands of years. As I continued to explore, I found myself drawn into a world where myth and history blend together. The Ganga, with its gentle yet powerful flow, has been a source of inspiration and worship for countless generations, and at the heart of it all lies Haridwar, a city that embodies the spiritual essence of India's ancient past. In the ancient Vedic era, the sacred river Ganga was revered as a symbol of divine truth and purity. As the sacred texts unfolded, the Yajurveda and Samaveda further emphasized the Ganga's role in yajnas, sacrificial rituals that held spiritual significance. Sages would gather along its banks to perform penance and rituals, seeking enlightenment and liberation. It was at the Ganga's descent that the meeting point of three worlds, heaven, earth, and the netherworld, converged. This cosmic intersection became a motif that would later be localized in Haridwar, a place where the boundaries between the earthly realm and the divine were believed to dissolve. The convergence of celestial and terrestrial energies laid the foundation for Haridwar's enduring reputation as a gateway to spiritual liberation. Archaeological discoveries corroborated the textual tradition, revealing continuous habitation and ritual activity in the Haridwar region. From alazat, vestubahazat, West terracotta artifacts during excavations provided tangible evidence of the area's sacred status, hinting at deep prehistoric roots in the revered epics of ancient India. The Mahabharata and Ramayana. Haridwar is mentioned as a place of great spiritual significance. The Mahabharata, composed between the 5th century BC and the 5th century, contains some of the most explicit and detailed references to Haridwar in its pages. We find descriptions of sacred geography, including Gangadwara, the confluence of the Ganga, and Kanikala, a site believed to hold immense spiritual power. These ancient texts not only attest to the region's timeless allure, but also underscore the enduring importance of Haridwar as a threshold to the divine. For centuries, pilgrims have been drawn to this sacred place, seeking to transcend the mundane and connect with the infinities, I delved into the ancient scriptures of the Mahabharata. I stumbled upon some of the most explicit and detailed references to Haridwar city that has been revered for centuries under its ancient name Gangedwara. The gateway of the Ganga, the text spoke about its sanctity with reverence according to the Vana, Parva, Tirthaitra, Parva sage, Halmia instructed Yukeshthira, the prince of Hastinapura, about India's sacred Tirthas naming Gangedwara, and Kanakala, Kankala's preeminent pilgrimage sites. The text described Gangedwara as a spot where the Ganga rushed past the mountains frequented by divine beings. Gandharvas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Apsaras, and Sages alike bathing at Gangedwara, and Kankal was said to cleanse all sins and grant access to heaven. The mere thought of it sent shivers down my spine as I imagined the spiritual energy emanating from this sacred spot, and yet there was more in another passage. Enusasana, Parvaveshma recounted Gangedwara as a sacred spot on earth, reinforcing its status as a site of ancestral salvation and spiritual merit. It was clear that Haridwar held a special place in the hearts of sages and seers who had spent their lives seeking enlightenment. But what struck me most was Agastya's penance tale from the Mahabharata, where the great Rishi, along with his wife Lopamadra, performed severe penance at Gangedwara. Their devotion to the site only cemented its association with asceticism and spiritual accomplishments. I dug deeper. I discovered that the ashram of sage Kapila, whose penance and curse led to the descent of the Ganga, was located in Haridwar itself. This ancient site gave the city its name, Kapilastana, a testament to the enduring legacy of these great sages who had once walked its banks. Haridwar's sanctity was palpable as I read about it, a city that continues to attract pilgrims and seekers of truth from far and wide. Its connection to the divine is timeless, a thread that weaves through centuries, reminding us of the transformative power of devotion and spiritual practice. In the ancient city of Haridwar, a place of immense spiritual significance, lies a location that has been known by many names throughout its rich history. It is here in this sacred land where the legendary snake sacrifice of Janamejaya took place. Yedite Parva, an epic account of the Mahabharata, narrates the tale of the mighty King Janamejaya, who sought to rid himself of a curse by performing the Sarpasatra. This ritual meant to appease the serpents and bring an end to the suffering that had befallen his family, was said to have taken place in Kinkal, just outside the city of Haridwar. Marking this event, the region around Haridwar has been revered as a holy site with its ancient name Kapilastana, serving as a reminder of the significance of this location. The legacy of Janamejay's snake sacrifice continues to be felt in this sacred place, where pilgrims and seekers of truth come to experience its mystical era. In the heart of the Himalayas, nestled between the majestic mountains and the sacred Ganges River, lies Haridwar, a place where myth, ritual, and pilgrimage converge. This ancient city has been at the center of India's rich spiritual heritage for centuries. It was here that the epic Mahabharata unfolded its story, with Haridwar serving as one of its pivotal nodes in the sacred geography. The narrative weaves together threads of mythology, philosophy, and devotion, drawing pilgrims from far and wide to experience the divine presence that permeates the sacred land. But Haridwar's significance extends beyond the Mahabharata. In the revered Ramayana, dated between the 10th century and the 8th centuries, the city is referred to as Gangedwara, a gateway to the Ganges River. According to legend, it was here that the gods assembled for Daksha's grand yajna sacrifice, which was said to have been performed at the gates of Ganga. The epic further recounts the tale of King Bhagaratha, who performed an intense penance at Haridwar to bring down the sacred Ganges River from heaven for the salvation of his ancestors. This myth has become central to Haridwar's identity as the site of Ganga's earthly descent, but testament to the enduring power of faith and devotion in the ancient Purana, specifically in the Vishnu Purana and Vayu Purana. Haridwar is described as the venue for the Grand Daksha Yajna. These texts recount how the gods, led by Indra, sought permission from Mahadeva Shiva to attend the sacrifice at Gangedwara, which was frequented by sages and seers.